this video, I'm going to show you how I make my super simple beans and rice in my game-changing tongue. What makes this recipe so fast and simple is cooking the rice and the beans in the Instapot. So you're going to want to start with fat in your Instapot. So once it's on and it's getting hot, I like to cook my rice in butter. I throw that in there and let it melt. And as that's melting, I measure out my rice and pour that in. Once I get all of my rice in, I like to mix it up and make sure that it's completely coated in the butter. And then after the rice is all the way coated, I will pour in the water according to the recommendations from my Instapot book. So this is just white rice, so it's equal parts water and rice. And then I cook it for the amount of time recommended by my Instapot book also. So you just want to click the lid on to lock it. Make sure the valve is actually going to come to pressure and let it do its thing. After about 10 minutes, that's when I'll turn the valve to venting and wait for the little valve to drop down. And now it's time to take the lid off. Be careful, it's really, really hot steam. But that's it. I will turn around and make my beans right after this. So I just take all of the rice out and let it cool in a pan so that I can just keep going with this recipe. But you could easily do this step in the morning and then let the rice sit and wash your pot out and make your beans whenever you're ready. Now it's time for the beans. I'm using black beans today, but I've made this with lots of different beans and they always turn out great. I just make sure and follow the recommendations that are in the book that comes with the Instant Pot for cooking time and the amount of water to add, but I don't add spices. It keeps it nice and simple, and we don't miss it when we top our beans and rice with the dressing that I'm going to make next. So while the beans are cooking, I make my dressing. There's olive oil in the bottom. I'm going to add some red wine vinegar, a few cloves of garlic, as well as a little bit of mustard. You could use any kind of mustard that you want. Really, whatever's in your fridge is fine. This is yellow mustard. We've used spicy brown, Dijon. It's just a very forgiving recipe. The next thing we're going to add in is salt. And this recipe has plenty of salt in the dressing. So when you're using this to top your beans and rice, you don't need any salt in either one of those when they're cooking. We're also going to add in some cumin and paprika. This is another ingredient that's pretty optional. We like cilantro, so I add a lot. And I've also made this with dried cilantro, and we thought it was great both ways. But if you don't like it, you can completely skip this step. We've made this recipe when we were completely out of cilantro, and it was still really, really good. That's what I like so much about this meal in general, is that it really is so adaptable to whatever it is that you have in your pantry. You could use a different oil, you could use a different vinegar, you could skip the garlic, you can just kind of adapt it to what you have, but it's so filling and it really is delicious when you just have some of those really bold flavors. And here's my little sous chef popping in because she was ready. She was tired of waiting for me to finish blending all of this stuff up. She was ready to eat. Now that the beans are done, I just scoop them out and lay them on top of the rice so that they can cool off, and that's it. It's just that simple. It's so, so easy. Now it's time for the toppings, and this is why this meal is on our meal plan every week. It's so versatile. So you can just top this with the dressing and be done, and we eat it that way all the time. But you could also make it more elaborate if you had more things in your fridge. This night we happen to have some cheese and sour cream and salsa, so we went more Chipotle style. You could also top it with lettuce or guac or whatever, but it can be whatever it is that you need it to be. made out of things that are so simple and easy to keep in your pantry with just plain beans and rice. So that's it. It's really, really basic and simple. It's yummy, it's filling. I make enough so we can have it for 2 meals because we love it so much. That's why I store it in that metal pan. It makes it super easy to just kind of throw it in the oven and warm it up for a few minutes, and then we top it with the dressing and cheese or whatever again. So anyway, I hope you like it. If you give it a try, let me know, and I'll see you soon. Bye.